mine when this old world seems to get me down.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the third and final segment of the Cajun Conservative Show today. Just a reminder that even in bad times, Jesus Christ is your hope. He's your strength. Love that song from Mr. Lanny Hayes. Thank to good artist. I got to be biased because I'm his son. So he does a good job. And, well, without further ado, as advertised in the earliest segments, we have Mr. Kevin Sorbo. He is the actor that played on God's Not Dead, but also known as Hercules, and he has a children's book. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that on the. Oh, I don't have it at the moment, but wrote a children's book as well. Conquering the Lion, I think it's something like that, Mr. Kevin.
It's called the Lionhood.
Lionhood, yes. But also have a movie out, new movie that's gonna be coming out pretty soon, and a Miracle in East Texas. I think that's based on an actual event, correct?
True story from 1930. It's a wonderful story. Oscar-nominated writer Dan Gordon wrote it. I directed it, starred in it. My wife's in it. Lou Gossett Jr. is in it. John Ratzenberger's in it. Tyler Main. Great story. It's won 10 film festivals, and I hope people will check it out. Go to sorbostudios.com is the place to go. Sorbo, my last name. Sorbo. Studios. You better know what studios are. sorbostudios.com.
Yeah, and look, I apologize. I butcher names all the time. Unfortunately, here in Louisiana, we have a bad accent, and we can't say too many names. But Mr. Kevin, I invited you to come on to talk about your movie and your book, but I also want to talk about Hollywood and how they censor a lot of Christians, because you are a Bible-believing Christian, correct?
Oh yeah, and a conservative. See, if you're a Christian and a conservative in Hollywood, apparently that's like a double leper to them. So it's weird, it's weird. It's weird in an industry that used to be pretty religious, whether it was Jewish or it was Catholic or whether it was, Christian, and they were pretty conservative. But the 60s kind of changed everything, and Hollywood just flipped and went the other way.
So how did you get into acting? Before we get into your movie and your book, because that's I never knew you was a book author as well.
I got 3 books out now. So, yeah, you know what? I was just a kid. I was 11 years old, and I grew up just outside of Minneapolis, St. Paul area in Minnesota. And we have a theater downtown called the Guthrie Theater, a very famous theater. A lot of actors, a lot of plays start there before they go to Broadway. And we had a 5th grade field trip down there to watch The Merchant of Venice. So I was 11. It was Shakespeare. I don't know what the heck they were saying, but I was just really zoned in to the actors on. That's nice, dear. But the dream, the seed was planted. And when I didn't really do much with it until I got to college, I had a double business major and took a minor in drama and started doing a lot of commercial work in Minneapolis. And I got my good old Screen Actors Guild card by doing Target commercials, 3M and Pillsbury and General Mills commercials. And yeah, that just started really at that time before I moved out to LA to pursue the dream full on.
And that your big break came with Hercules, correct?
Oh, Hercules was huge. I mean, I went down to New Zealand to shoot. It was going to be 5 2-hour movies over a year. Wow! And I got to work the whole year with the amazing Anthony Quinn. And I know a lot of people listening probably don't know who that is. They should. He was one of the big stars from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and even in the 70s. I mean, Quinn was nominated 6 times for Academy Awards, won twice. He played Zeus. He played my father. But by the 3rd movie, Universal Studios said, "We love what we see. You're going to stay down there. We're going to make it a TV series." And by our 3rd year in the series, we actually became the most watched TV show in the world in 176 countries. So that was pretty cool.
And look, I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Kevin. I never saw the movie, unfortunately, but I'd seen clips of it. But I knew, and I'm a big movie history buff. And Hercules is one of those shows that really stand out.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was, I lived in New Zealand 7 years. My entire crew went on to work on Lord of the Rings after we finished. We shot from 1993 to 2000. And then they started shooting Lord of the Rings in. So most of my crew went on to work, and they won Oscars off of that series. So it was I say Hercules started it all, which it did. We were a good training ground for him.
And so now we move to the most recent project you have, Miracle in East Texas, and also the movie, the book, The Test of the Lionhood. How did that come about? Because this is your latest movie, and I already plan on watching it. We have it on the screen right now, so people can see what it looks like when they go to the movie theaters. How did that all come about?
Wonderful script. Dan Gordon is a good friend of mine who wrote it. Like I said, an Oscar-nominated writer, and I just said we got to make this movie, and we're lucky enough to find the funding for it. It's a true story set in 1930. It's about two con men played by myself and John Ratzenberger that went to Oklahoma and Texas, and they would woo widows out of their money on fake oil wells. And they strike oil in Kilgore, Texas, the largest oil fund in the history of the world, right there in the heart of the Depression, 1930. So it created a lot of work and a lot of jobs for people in that area during the Depression. And we, of course, get arrested because we were con guys. And during the trial, all the widows came down to hopefully see us hang for everything we did. But it's a wonderful PG-rated movie. It's funny. The fans will like it. It's won 10 film festivals, everything from Best Family Film, Best Faith Film, Best Romantic Comedy. It's PG-rated. You can take your 6 and 7-year-olds to it. And it's just a wonderful movie that's got love and hope and laughter, redemption, faith, things that Hollywood used to do but doesn't do anymore. But I still like making movies like that. So we're in theaters October 29th and 30th. We only get 2 days. It's a low budget movie. And I said low budget, it doesn't look low budget, but we don't have the big $100 million advertising budget like these movies like, the Avatar and Pirates of the Caribbean have. Those are $300 million movies. So we got to compete against these big boys with their negative message. And we need people word of mouth. We need people to go to sorbostudios.com, buy tickets now. You can link on there, put your zip code in. They'll show you right where to go. And please, if we sell out these theaters now, we'll get more days. Trust me.
And go on to your point, we've already seen it with multiple movies, with a lot of faith-based film, The Chosen being one of them. Chosen went into theaters, and all the critics said this is never going to happen. They're not going to break. They're not going to break even in theaters. And The Chosen got millions. Sound of Freedom, and while you had movies like Barbie and woke Indiana Jones and all that come out, they busted at the box office.
Barbie did really well because people generation wanted. But what is Barbie's message? The message is, women, you don't need men. Men are useless. Men are wimps, and you don't need a man in your life. And Hollywood's been doing that for a long time. This emasculation of men, it's just crazy to me. And I don't know why they want to do it, but they've been doing it. So, but you look at a movie like, the movie I did, God's Not Dead, which was just a massive hit. What If's another one. Let There Be Lights, another one I directed that was in theaters for 4 months. And my most recent one in theaters in January and February was Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, based on the Left Behind books by Jerry Jenkins, who's Dallas Jenkins' father. And Dallas directed me in my first faith-based movie called What If. And I highly recommend What If to people. It's a wonderful movie.
It is a wonderful movie. That is one of my favorite movies made that you share it. And it just shows your decisions that you make in life. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people would ask, well, is that reality? Would God do that? Possibly. Mr. Kevin, I said this, and I'm a youth pastor, and I've told lots of people this already. Human beings put God in a box. And like he can't see 20 different views or 20 different areas of our lives at one time. As a human, we just put them so much in a box. And when you come up with a movie like that, What If, it made me think, wow, God sees every path that we would go on, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh, yeah. There was no question. And, people got to remember, God never promised us an easy life. We're here on this planet, and everybody's got a story, and you're always going to have obstacles in your life. How do you react to those obstacles is really up to you. You can blame God, or you can blame the family, the world, the government, and just give up on life, or you can trudge on because bad things are going to happen. You got to go, you know what? It happened to me. What am I going to do about it? And too many people in this world right now, they just decide to give up. And what rules their life now is anger and fear and hatred, and they blame everybody else for their problems. And you can see what's going on in our schools, what's going on in our major cities, what's going on with the violence and death. And it's just, it's incredible. We got to fight in our hands. And I'm trying to do movies that have a positive message to fight back all that anger and hate.
Yeah, and we need movies like that because, like you said, this movie that you're coming out with, Miracles in East Texas, it's a faith-based movie, and we're not seeing that no more because a lot of people will watch And look, I watched it last weekend. Fast X. Fast X was a great, exciting movie, but there is a lot of violence in those movies. And young children, like my oldest is 8 years old. I'm not gonna let him sit down and just watch anything. So it's nice to go to a movie theater, or even bring it into your own home and watch a movie that's clean, that you don't have to worry about violence, you don't have to worry about sexual immorality, anything like that.
Well, I get stopped all the time. It used to be Hercules and Andromeda, my 2 long-running series. But I get stopped now for God's Not Dead and What If and Soul Surfer and Let There Be Light. That's what people stop me for and say, please make more movies like this. Well, I'm making it, but they have to support it. And I know, like I said, it's hard to get it out there if they don't have a big advertising budget. That's why I need people to sign up at sorbostudios.com and we can keep you up to date with what's going out there. Because if you look at what TV shows are out there now. What do they do? What do they do? This emasculation of men. What do they do? The father's kind of a dope. The mom's kind of a babe. The teenage kids use dad as just this punching bag. And we train kids to look at fathers as they're kind of a useless part of the family who don't really need fathers. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I'm all for embracing masculinity. We have this, all these people on the left are going, it's toxic masculinity. Why do they want to make men like women and women like men? And this whole thing, this androgynous society does not work. And most movies today, what do they show? The women are the ones that kick butt. They're the ones that save the day. The men can't do it. Indiana Jones, most recent one, that's what they did to him. That movie bombed. That movie's going to lose over $100 million because they didn't let Indy be Indiana Jones. And it's like, when is Hollywood going to get the message here? It's just weird what they're doing to the world.
Yeah, and it's sad, and like you big studios, Disney, that push this money through, and they're not making money off of it, and they're pushing LGBTQ. They're going against men. It is sad. I want to talk about your book a little bit, and like I said, we're throwing it up on the screen right now. The Test of Lionhood. This is done by Brave Books, and they're doing an excellent job writing books that will teach kids just not faith lessons, but good moral books for them to go to the library. Excuse me, and take these books out, where us as parents, we don't have to worry about them trying to genderize our children by saying there's 250,000 genders. So, how did you team up with Brave Book, and you're on tour right now with them, correct?
I am. I'm on tour with the book and also on tour, obviously, for the movie as well. Kirk Cameron's a friend of mine. He was in the Left Behind movies 23, 24 years ago, before I was. And he did a book, and I think a lot of people that are listening right now know that he went to libraries, and some libraries wouldn't let him read his book. It's a kid's book, but they were okay with drag queens coming in a library and reading to 7-year-olds, because apparently Kirk Cameron's really scary. So it's like, I started talking about the lions. We need to wake up the lions. I'm tired of the silent majority crap that's out there. With them silent majority, wake the heck up. Stop being so afraid of the cancel culture. This woke thing is so powerful because the press is behind it, the government's behind it, and it's all it is insanity. It's just absolute insanity. So I said we need to wake up the lions. So Brave Book got a hold of me and said, let's do a book called The Test of Lionhood. It doesn't bash any group. It's just a wonderful story, and it really is. Let boys be boys. Let them be boys. Let them grow up to be strong men, strong family members, strong fathers. And it's a story about a young cub, Lucas. He's got 2 younger sisters. They're out playing near the mountain. The younger sister gets cut by a very poisonous plant. He knows the plant. His father's told him about the goods and bads and things out there in the mountains that they got to be careful for. He knows he has no time to get back home to his mom and dad. He's got to go up to the top of the mountain, which is closer, and grab the flower that his dad told him is the only thing that can save his sister's life. So he's got to get past all his fears, all his insecurities, all his, he's got to get past all these things thrown in front of him and find his courage to do it. And he does it. He saves a little sister's life. And this book is a positive book. And Brave Books does books for kids between 4 and 12 years old. You can sign up right now, bravebooks.com. Go to bravebooks.com. Get a free signed book from me. As long as you join Brave Books, and you get a new book every single month from them that are great for your kids. And as you mentioned earlier, they just have strong values about life and just letting kids be kids and let them grow up and find their own way. I mean, you want parents to lead them and hopefully good teachers. We're not finding that in public schools, but no. This is about kids growing up, and let them find their own way. They will find their way. Trust me.
And you bringing that up, me and my wife's a private school teacher. She teaches 6th to 8th grade. I'm a youth pastor of a church, and so I get them from 8th grade to they're 18. So I see what you're saying. You know, there's a lot of kids. They do have questions, but like you said, we just don't need good teachers. We need good pastors, youth pastors, that are not gonna bend down to wokeism. And you know, you mentioned Kirk Cameron. I love how Kirk Cameron has been doing that for the last couple of years. Been telling pastors and teachers, hey, do your job, be a spiritual leader, and you know they're gonna find their way. We gotta lead. We have to lead by example.
Yeah, and we got a lot of woke pastors out there too. I do a lot of speaking events, and I always remind pastors. I said, you guys got to remember, you work for God. You don't work for government. And too many of them are working for government right now. I mean, I walked into a church when I live in Florida now. We left California 5 years ago. The first church that we went to, as we were looking for a church, I was welcomed by everybody. They're very nice. Of course, they recognized me because of the faith-based movies I've done. 5 minutes into a sermon, he basically said, we got to apologize for being white. We stood up and walked out. I said, this is insanity. This is just so crazy that so many woke pastors out there now as well. And these guys, they have bowed to the God of government, and government is not God.
No, it's not. And God's Not Dead 4 was a perfect example of that. We the People, with David White, and it just. Movies like that, we need to have more movies like what you're doing at your studio. We have a few more minutes. I would like to ask you about Hollywood and cancel culture, because this is a political show, Mr. Kevin, and you know, a lot of people bash me here on the Cajun Conservative Show. Isaac, you're making up all this stuff about Hollywood censoring actors. You're making up all this stuff about conservatism. If you're a conservative and a Christian, you're just evil. Mr. Kevin, you speak from firsthand experience.
Because Hollywood has taught them that we're evil.
Right.
Every time you see a conservative in a movie or a pastor, they make them bumbling, stupid, evil, dumb, idiots, whatever. That's what they have done. So people buy into that. Yes, I'm the first cancel culture victim in Hollywood. 12 years ago, my manager and agent said we can't work with you anymore because you're a Christian and a conservative. So I'm in the business. So these people are coming after you. They're ignorant. They're uneducated. They have no idea. They don't live in that world. I've lived in that world for over 40 years. So I laughed because I said, you know, you guys, I'm in an industry that screams for tolerance. Oh, be tolerant of what we're doing. Be tolerant of this and that. Screams for freedom of speech, but they're hypocrites. Just like Washington, D.C. It's a one-way street. Andrew Breitbart, who created Blaze TV, he said way back then, he said, politics runs downstream from culture. Who runs the culture? Hollywood does. You see all these politicians rubbing elbows with these people in Hollywood. I'll tell you something. There's a lot of conservatives out there in Hollywood that are afraid to come out of that conservative closet. I am not. And I get actors, I get writers, I get camera guys, whatever. And every movie I do in the last 10 years come up and say, thanks for being a voice for us. You know what? Be a voice for yourself. Don't be afraid, you know, but fear is an amazing weapon. We saw governments all over the world use fear and COVID to control your life. What did it do? It made suicides higher. It made alcoholism higher, drug use higher, spousal abuse higher, child abuse higher. They closed down mom and pop grocery stores because they were not essential. But we'll leave Target and Costco open. You don't think there's money involved in this with the government? Give me a break.
And look, I admire you for what you're doing, because look, it's easy for me as a normal American to say, look, I'm a conservative, I'm praying one day that the Lord opens this show up to where we could reach a lot more people. That is my goal, to educate young people, you know, but the Lord's using you, Mr. Kevin. He's using you to wake up the silent voices. Just not for conservatism, but for Christians as well, because unfortunately, we don't want to offend nobody. Well, we got to start offending some people because our country's going wrong.
It's okay for them to offend us all the time.
Correct. Yeah.
Once again, it's a one-way street, and they're hypocrites. And most of these people out there screaming at you, screaming at me, these are. I swear to God, I could probably do a documentary on them. I think there's they have probably a lot of the same common denominators there. I think a lot of them probably grew up without a father. A lot of them probably don't have a job. They probably failed once and give up on life, and it was everybody else's fault. It was your fault that they don't, their dreams didn't come true. So what do? They join Antifa.
Yep.
They join BLM. What is BLM's manifesto? People come after me for that. I love Isaac Washington, the NBA player from Orlando. He did not take a knee.
Yeah.
And all these NFL guys taking a knee? Really? I mean, they attacked Tim Tebow for taking a knee because he's thanking God for the touchdown he just scored. But you want to take a knee bashing America? I mean, go to another country. Tell me what country you think is better than America. Why do you think we have 5 million illegals over the last 4 years cross our border? Why do you think that's happening? If we're the worst country in the world, then why do you think it's happening? These people need to go live in these other countries and maybe experience what all these other people are getting away from before they open their mouths, because they're uneducated and they're ignorant of the truth and the reality. And you know what? It's unbelievable what we're doing in this country, why we're trying to turn it into a third world country. When Trump was president, you got to give the guy credit, okay? Maybe he wasn't presidential, but he did everything he said he was going to do.
Yep.
And 1.4 million in 4 years came across the border. If Biden gets in again, we're going to have 10 million over 8 years coming. We're going to put them in these sanctuary cities. We send just busloads to New York and Chicago, and they complain. You're the ones that said you're a sanctuary city. Once again, they're hypocrites. They're fine when it happens to California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. It's fine when it happens there. But when it comes to their neighborhood, now they're complaining. I was just in New York City a little while ago. Trust me, I talked to enough people that they're so upset now that all these people are coming there. All these people, you're getting busloads. You're not getting 100,000 a day coming across your border. So there's my soap opera.
That's what a podcast is for, though. You can go ahead and open up and look, hey, this show, Mr. Kevin, go check out some of my shows. You see, I get red in the face. So it just, and it makes you mad because it just, you love this country so much.
I know.
And
I hate to do this. I gotta actually get dressed and run downstairs. There's a car waiting for me. They're gonna drive me to my next interview.
Yes, sir.
People go to bravebooks.com, sign up, and go to sorbostudios.com, and go see my movie. It's a good family movie.
Mr. Kevin, thank you for coming on the Cajun Conservative Show. Hope to do it again soon, sir.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No problem.
God bless.
That was Mr. Kevin Sorbo interviewing with us at the Cajun Conservative Show. Want to thank him again for coming on to the Cajun Conservative Show. A great man. Go check out his films and his new movie. Please go to the movie theaters. That is very important. If you go to the movie theaters when Miracles in East Texas comes out, you see the dates on the screen right now, October 29th and 30th. Go check it out. Also, go ahead and check out his new book, The Test of the Lionhood. The Test of the Lionhood, and go ahead and show your kids those books. Go to bravebooks.com and pick up those books for your kids. Real educational in the faith, and it also helps out to give you kids some life lessons and understand. So with that being said, that's going to end this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Want to thank you again for always listening to the episodes. Remember that you can go ahead and like and subscribe on any platform that you're listening on. You can also follow us on Rumble and subscribe to us on YouTube. Remember that Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus, your personal Lord and Savior, reach out to us here at the Cajun Conservative Show at the Cajun Conservative 5 at gmail.com, and we will tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. So until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.
He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he